Hi everybody. I know it's been like forever since I've made any kind of video. That's because of graduation, moving, lots of other stuff. Been kind of stressed lately. So unwinding today, and I'm gonna go see Ant-Man. So I decided why not just do a little spiel about all the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm gonna stick Ant-Man after I see it into like my list of favorite Marvel movies. I love the Marvel movies. I love the comic book movies. I remember, seeing every single one of them, in theaters. Well, not every single one. Every one that I did see in theaters, I remember seeing in theaters. I didn't see the Incredible Hulk in theaters. I think that's the only one. So I'm just gonna give you like the list, a little spiel about each of them. My least favorite is definitely Iron Man 2. When I was in theaters watching that was just like I halfway through I was like, boy, this isn't gonna bounce back, is it? And I had such high hopes. It had Mickey Rourke as a villain. I was like, and he was just coming off The Wrestler, so I was like, I was really hoping for something there, but didn't really pan out. Next would be The Incredible Hulk. I thought Edward Norton did a nice job, but it just sort of fell flat. Those are two really good examples of how Marvel can sometimes really screw up their formula, or their formula can just get so predictable or so generic. The next one would be Captain America, the first one. I remember watching that for the first time and thinking, wow, this is fantastic. And I recently watched that again, and I still liked it, and I still was like, this is a really good movie, but it's not got a lot of rewatchability for me. Like, I was really bored about halfway through, and not my cup of tea as it once was. The next one's Thor 2. Some people might be screaming that I have that above Captain America. I like the Thor movies. I don't know why. I just do. I'd much rather see Thor interact with Odin and Loki and Jane and that whole crew than see Steve Rogers be, the golden boy. I don't know why. It's just, something that I'm drawn to. It's not the greatest movie at all, but it was I enjoyed. I had fun with it. The next one's actually going to probably divide some people, and that one's Avengers: Age of Ultron. Some people thought that was just like the second coming. I was sort of let down. I was sort of promised by, all the hype and the trailers that this was going to sort of take a turn, not necessarily get dark or gritty or real or things like that. It was still going to keep the Marvel, happiness, but I felt like we were really going to get some more insight to this group being torn apart. Like, we've seen them come together, and with Civil War coming up, we really need to start seeing them sort of drag apart from each other. And that's the way it was sort of pitched, and it's just Avengers 2.0. That's really what it is. Like, all the same marks are hit. All the same, like there's, other than maybe the Black Widow, that was really about the only thing that changed, it seemed like. I don't know. I still an enjoyable flick. I was just a little let down. The next one's Iron Man 3. I really enjoyed that. The twist with the villain, I know a lot of people still get up in arms about. I really enjoyed it. I remember just laughing for about like 30 straight seconds in the theater, just like consistently laughing out loud funny. Because I didn't really have any knowledge of the Mandarin or that universe. So that was a really nice twist for me. But not only that, I really thought Robert Downey Jr. did a good job of portraying like the anxiety and the PTSD that would come after an attack, on New York. That, to me, so far has been one of the most realistic things that Marvel has done. Is said, he's not just this rock star now. He's actually dealing with a lot. Next one's Iron Man. Love the first one. You do too. Everybody loves the first Iron Man. Go watch the first Iron Man, and you'll know why it's up there. The next one's Avengers. I know a lot of people say it's the best comic book film of all time. I disagree. I think it's very good, and I think it's monumental in what it did for cinema, in the sense that like we're going in a new direction now of these shared universes. You have Avengers to thank for that. So yeah, I thought it was good. it was jam packed. You know, you couldn't really have this incredibly rich narrative. You couldn't have all these different things. But the one thing it really got right was having Loki as the villain, because one thing Marvel doesn't have is good villains. Loki's there with their exception. Loki's fantastic, so that was good to have him in there. The next one's actually Thor. I love that movie. I don't know why most people don't. That movie had no business being good. The trailers, if you go back and watch them, just look horrendous. Look totally out of whack. But it was fantastic. The fish out of water routine actually worked really well. I just like that it seemed a lot more cosmic, instead of like, oh, my evil business partner is doing this, or the Nazis are doing this, or things like that. This one just felt like much more, even though it was more cosmic. You know, they're up on Asgard and the Rainbow Bridge or whatever, and jumping between all these galaxies. At the heart of it, it's a story about two sons trying to get the love of their father. You know, it's a coming of age story. So it's actually one of the more human stories of all the Marvel films, but it's also set on this cosmic scale, and I love doing that. I absolutely adore it. So that's why I like the first Thor movie. And my number one favorite Marvel movie as of now is Guardians of the Galaxy. That was another one. That movie didn't really have a whole lot of business being good, because I mean the talking raccoon, a tree played by Vin Diesel, some guy named Chris Pratt. It was supposed to be a disaster, and it was fantastic. It was like watching a Star Wars movie in a way. I mean, you had the emotional points, you had the action points, you had the comedy. It was firing on all cylinders. There's not a whole lot more you can say about it other than that it's just such a riot. The soundtrack is phenomenal. So yeah, those are just, my brief list of the Marvel movies, and I'll plug in my Ant-Man review and where I would rank it on the later portion of this video. Thanks, bye. Let's hope it's good. Hey everybody, so got back from seeing Ant-Man, and it was really good. Don't know exactly where I'd rank it yet, but probably up there. I think I enjoyed it more than, say, like Iron Man 3. So I mean, it's up there pretty high. Just sort of the quick review, things I thought that were I don't know, I'll just sort of start with the things I liked. It was new and it was refreshing. I've found that you'll see in like my top Marvel movies is that it's like the original, like Thor 1 or Iron Man 1 or Guardians of the Galaxy. It's sort of like the first time we get to meet these characters. So I think that's what was just sort of refreshing about having this, because there have been so many sequels. I liked sort of seeing this new person. I thought Michael Douglas worked really well as Hank Pym. I thought that was great. Paul Rudd worked. I mean, he wasn't fantastic. He wasn't bad. I bought it. My biggest thing, and I'll say this, I want to say this carefully. I was a big Lost fan, the TV show Lost, and I really liked Evangeline Lilly, who's in that show, and she's in this movie. But then by the end of the show, they started writing her really annoying. And then she was cast in the Hobbit movies, and I was like, oh, she's going to be awesome. It's going to be this like female empowerment, great thing. I don't really hesitate saying she's the worst part. Like everything her character does, like if her character is mentioned or in the scene, it's some of the worst. I got angry. So when I saw she was in this, it wasn't the fact that Edgar Wright had left, or that you cast a comedian in the lead role. It was like, you have Evangeline Lilly in your movie. I don't know, man. And you know what? I will be darned. She surprised me. I mean, she's very good, and I can see her going forward in the universe and being really good. I'm not going to give away any spoilers or anything. But the things another thing I liked, it's sort of like a heist movie for a good portion of it. And probably my number one cheer for this movie is Michael Pena, or Pena, I believe. He's fantastic, and he's sort of the comic relief in the movie. And one thing I hate about comic relief is or I don't hate about comic relief, but usually what comic relief gets wrong for my taste is that you have the hero who never really says a joke. He has all the cool lines. And then you have like the damsel, and then you have the villain. And then you have the comic relief, you know, because he's fat or because, you know, he's loud or thing. Do you sort of get where I'm going with this? So Michael Pena is really the comic effect or the like a huge part of the comic relief in this movie. So they always cut to him and you're always like, okay, here we go. And I thought that was going to get old really quick, but I just kept laughing every time it was on him. I was either chuckling or laughing out loud, so it was good. Stay for the post-credit scene. It's pretty cool. Things I didn't like, again, it's pretty formulaic. In the Marvel's sort of become its own genre of film, hasn't it? But and also not having a great villain. So, but on the whole, I mean, it wasn't that the villain was poorly acted or something. He's about as memorable as like a can of tuna fish. It's like, I mean, okay, there it is, and there it goes, and move on to the next thing. But again, the movie wasn't that way. That was what really got me. So I really liked it. Go see it. It's, like I said, it's up there for some of my favorite Marvel movies. It was a good one. So there we go. Hopefully I'll have another video up soon. Real quick before we go here, you might also be wondering what the generic Marvel formula is. Well, and this isn't mine. This is from the Honest Trailers on YouTube. You should really check it out. But basically, this is when you take the Marvel method for making movies. You take a half-forgotten B-list superhero, and you cast an unknown or forgotten or B-list actor. You have them fight a generic villain that will only last one movie, have them fall in love with a generically strong female character, make a ton of quips, and destroy a bunch of property, talk a bunch of science, and cram Stan Lee in there somewhere, and set up an Avengers movie. Literally apply that to every single Marvel film, and that's basically it. And not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying that's sort of the formula for all of it. So anywho, that's in case you were wondering.